Yes. Hello, everybody, as you're coming in. You're at Mindfulness Wednesdays, if you're there. And I'm here. And I'm looking forward to seeing you as you come in. So you can say hi in the chat if you want. And we'll just wait for a few minutes for everybody to gather in if there's more people. And if not, we'll be mindful on our own. Again, if you're coming to mindfulness, this is the place. Who is that that's there? I'm just curious. Say hi if you want. And I will actually just send out that email to make sure this link is the right one. October the 12th today. Quite remarkable. And not just because it's already the 12th, but also it's a gorgeous day here in Vancouver. And it's at least 18 degrees right now. I have a sweater on, but it's still really warm. Absolutely gorgeous. So hopefully you're enjoying the weather. And so we're going to start soon. I'm just going to keep doing these, and if people show up, great. If not, that's okay. They'll be on the channel. So as we kind of gather into our practice today, just wanting to acknowledge that I'm on the unceded territory of the Tsleil-Waututh, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh Nation. and that as such I'm deeply honored and grateful for the opportunity to be here and to be able to do what I do and to be able to share in the teachings. So that's a privilege, and I'm really grateful for it. And on that note, I just wanted to kind of step off from there and talk a little bit about gratitude. Um, and I'm going to just go on a tangent a little bit because I'm in the middle of writing a book and, finishing a book and sending it to the publisher, which I'm very grateful for. And part of the research that I've done for this book is around the brain and science and healing, and the places that I've been led to learn more have been remarkable. One of those places is, of course, in neuroplasticity, which there's been so much really great research done, predominantly in the last 10 years since we even actually discovered that the brain is neuroplastic, because we didn't even know that, if you can imagine, until 2001. Well, we knew about it before. It became evident in the early 90s, and a few researchers discovered that there was parts of the brain that were regrowing after brain injury and stroke. And that was kind of the area, the doorway in. And then through that doorway, the rest of science kind of jumped on the bandwagon, and there's been lots of research done, but not necessarily until sort of 2005 and onward. So at that point in time, there was a Nobel Peace Prize that was won for some of the research that was done around how the brain changes itself, and it can morph into functions where parts of those functions were taken away. So it can create new areas where those functions get taken over by a different part of the brain. That's part of it. But they can also, the brain can also repair a lot more of itself through various techniques than we thought. And those techniques, guess what, are mindfulness, meditation, sound therapy, neurophysiology as it relates to neurobiology. And I'm not going to try and be sciencey here because I'm not a scientist. But this is kind of leading in the direction of how the brain changes itself. So there's a whole area of research on that, those soft manual therapies being able to not only facilitate change, but in some cases actually start it. So all the more reason to think about mindfulness as part of your daily diet, if you will. I'm going to have a drink. And I think that leads me into the place where I was going to mention something about Thanksgiving. And it is actually proven now that gratitude and being grateful changes our brain chemistry. Who would have thought? Like, how absolutely precious and blessed is that? Something that we can do on a daily basis, momentarily, moment to moment, if you want. And it actually makes your brain function better. And it's just being grateful, really, honestly, saying thank you, feeling the gratitude. And sometimes if you don't feel it, you can fake it and you will still elicit change. So I'm going to use that as part of my stepping off point today when we practice. So I want to have that kind of rich in your memory and rich in your awareness as we move into our practice today. So that's one thing. I hope you can hear me. If you can't, you'll let me know. And so far, I don't know who's there, but whoever you are, thank you. Anyway, the next piece I'm going to do is just read a little poem to you. And I think before we do that, we'll get really comfortable and get yourself into a place where you feel like there's nothing you need to do. So whatever that might be for you, And it could be many things, and that's okay. So you work on getting yourself really comfortable, and I'll do the same. And at a certain point, we're going to invite the body to settle, to allow itself to go into a place of rest and restoration. And that really requires us um, to let whatever activity that we're doing in the external realm to just become less important. So it doesn't mean that if you feel uncomfortable, you shouldn't move or shift. What it means is that you're not going to let that piece dominate your thoughts or your awareness. You're going to acknowledge maybe I'm uncomfortable and shift and do something about it. But if you continue to think about being uncomfortable, then you have a different situation. And you have a situation where the brain is in a loop and it's telling you something over and over and over again. And so with that, we're going to intervene. And what I'm going to teach you today in our practice is this technique called wake up. And it's essentially giving the brain a cue to kind of snap out of it. So oftentimes we see this in toddlers or your puppy or something where they've just kind of got this warped thing in their brain. We see it in ourselves, but we don't admit to it. And we often don't even remember that that's actually what's going on because we're so deeply into it in our patterning. But it's really when you take yourself out of the present moment. That's essentially what it is. And so rather than letting that happen, or also when you acknowledge that it has happened, and some of us may not know, as I said, and so when we become quiet and that, fidgety kind of thing is like, I can't get comfortable. When that's going on, you're going to go, neti, neti, neti. And that word means be here now. Or you can use so hum. And that will bring your awareness and your attention, kind of like a little bit of a snap, wake up call to the brain to come out of that sort of very primitive default mode. We call it the default mode network, where you're just in a habitual treadmill of thinking, of thought. Okay. And maybe you miss the sunset. Maybe you miss the tingle in your butt that says you got to move. Maybe you miss the pain in the side of your arm, but actually that's okay because you need to pay attention to the pain. Or sorry, it's not okay because you need to pay attention to that and honor that only to a point. And then once you've done that, then the body already knows the pain's there. So if you keep going and thinking about it, you're actually past the point of awareness, and now you're back into that default mode network. So it's really kind of, it's like juggling. It's like you're constantly holding awareness with these other things, distractions that are trying to get your attention and throw you off, but don't let it. So the default mode network can be kind of snapped back into coming back into present time awareness with what's called a cue or a wake up, or in this case, what we're going to be using is a mantra. And that mantra has sound bites and vibration, which also kind of help the brain to calm. So neti is one of them that you could use, or soham. And that's when you go off track from the present moment. Okay. So that's the first thing we're going to be doing and practicing in our kind of journey back into practicing together, as it's fall 2022 and there's lots going on in the world, and we need more and more time and space to be calm and to let the world out there continue to do what it's going to do while we come in here and heal and find peace, because you might not be able to find it out there. And by coming in here and finding peace, you're not avoiding what's out there. Rather, you're making a choice in the moment to acknowledge that can exist, but soak in this place of eternal peace and everlasting kind of calmness, which is really our true nature. Okay, so I've talked a lot and I appreciate you listening. And now I'm going to read you a little poem as you settle in and we'll do our practice. And this poem is by Mary Oliver, who is one of, the last century's probably greatest poets in my mind, along with some others, David White and John O'Donohue. And I want you to think about this as being kind of like a koan or koan, which is also a little bit of a wake-up call word where you kind of go, oh, what? That doesn't make sense. But actually, if you listen or you allow your mind to kind of stretch out of what kind of the normal thought pattern is, it might actually make you think in a way that you hadn't thought of before, which opens up new vistas and opens up the limitation of the brain, of the default mode network. Breathing in and exhaling and making a sound. Settling into your dignified, comfortable, relaxed, present, attentive, resting place. Allow yourself, as you draw your attention inward, to notice everything that has any vibration, meaning thought, meaning sound, meaning sensation, meaning auditory, listening, hearing. So tune yourself into all of your senses and notice what's coming into all of those senses. Notice what you're feeling in your emotional body and what state of mind your heart's in, what state of mind your mind is in, and also what state of mind maybe your feelings are in. So that's going to take us toward the tactile body. Feel where you are in your body. Allow yourself to give the permission for your awareness to be okay with whatever you feel right now. Accepting it in a place of loving kindness. And also just, curious. Could be playful attention. So what do I feel? And what does that make you feel? So we can have a feeling. I feel this kind of weird sensation in my back shoulder. It doesn't, it's just a sensation right now. But as soon as I go, oh, it doesn't feel good, or oh, that's my bad chronic shoulder, I've now attached my emotion to that feeling. So as always in mindfulness, we're thinking about the triangle. So there's thoughts, there's emotions, and there's feelings. And in the middle of that triangle is your awareness. And it's really kind of paying attention to all three of those quadrants. Some of them are more vociferous than others. So just allowing yourself to really notice thoughts, feelings, and emotions that may be attached to those feelings or even to those thoughts. And as you do this kind of taking stock of all that is in the inner realm, in your inner realm, with kind, loving curiosity, just like you would if you were looking at the puppy and the mess in the room that it made when you got home from work, or just the same way you would with that little child, where you're actually able to observe the child. Maybe they're in a temper tantrum, but it doesn't make you feel angry. You're just compassionately there witnessing. So kind witnessing of all that is. And the best way for me to really allow myself to shift into this place of a more slow down, intentional awareness is to use your breath. And so I invite you to take a few good, smooth, even, effortless breaths together with me. And I invite you to think that you can also, or allow yourself to exhale on the open mouth, with the open mouth, and make a little bit of an audible sound. So let's do that together. And just allow that breath to be very present in your awareness as you're breathing deeply. And on your exhales, you feel that invitation to release and to let go physically, emotionally, and of your thoughts cognitively. And using that sounding to really cue in to your auditory and to all of your subtle senses. So our biggest sensory sort of input information is our eyes, our visual. So with our eyes closed, relaxing the outer corners of your eyes, allowing the eyes to be soft and like they're big, beautiful medicine balls that are just floating in this gorgeous pool of kind of mercury, indigo liquid in the eye cavity. Just feel the weight and the heaviness of them relaxing and relaxing your brain. You may even allow that sense that as you relax your eyes and the space between your eyebrows, particularly, you can just feel this beautiful, gentle release of the flesh of your forehead as it softens and smooths out toward the brow, and also in the other direction toward the hairline. And as you smooth the flesh of the brow and just relax it, spreading it, imagine that at the hairline, you can even release your brain that works so hard all the time and always wants to try and do the right thing and figure everything out. Just let it go. Let the part of the brain that does the doing just relax into the being, into looking with kind, curious eyes at all that is. You can still feel your breath relaxing you, particularly on your exhale. And I invite you to, as you relax and feel this beautiful kind of place of just replenishment, soften the flesh inside the cheeks, the flesh of your cheeks. I like to actually bring my tongue in and just give a little bit of a push into the cheek, releasing tissue, muscle, and tension away from the face. And then swallow, allowing the root of your tongue to be deep and kind of relaxed at the base. Some of you will feel that kind of as a broadening in the lower palate and even a broadening in the upper palate at the roof of the mouth as the tongue just relaxes and recedes backwards slightly. With this relaxed place in your face now, just allow the whole countenance of your being to feel a very gentle grin. There's no need to change any musculature, just feel it. Just really allow yourself to notice what shifts when you feel that grin. And perhaps you need like a cue or a reminder of what that grin might feel like. And imagine just grinning at someone you love, or just taking in the beauty of something that really moves you. Or feeling the grin that one might have when it looks at a baby. It's pretty impossible not to grin at a healthy little baby that's just full of joie de vivre and so in the moment. Just feeling that beautiful baby face smile without any strain. And in that beautiful place of the grin, we'll just imagine also gratitude. And maybe you do have a niece or a nephew or a child or a memory of a baby that comes to mind. And let that be what invites this response in your whole being. Thoughts, feelings, sensations, emotions, to be in a place of gratitude that you actually have that incredible experience, people, a place, a thing in your life. Feel gratitude that you have the ability to observe that in your life. And whatever you might feel gratitude for now, just let your whole beautiful kind of floating awareness just be in the ocean of gratitude. Notice what comes up as you invite all the things that you feel gratitude for in your life. Remember to use your breath if you get sidetracked by the default mode network of thoughts and feelings and emotions. And just gently guide your attention back to that ocean of gratitude. And there was a great poet, don't remember his name, I think it was Samuel Beckett, who said, act great, think great, do great, and then be great. So sometimes we might not feel a certain thing, but we can reprogram that, because it's just an opinion or judgment that may not have accurate information or all information. So using that place of perhaps the neti, the little cue to bring your awareness back to present moment if you need to. So it's neti, or so hum, so hum, so hum. And then coming back to the pool, the ocean of gratitude. And if you don't quite feel perhaps the gratitude in that particular moment, just let yourself move toward what that could be, or what might be there. And we're going to be winding our way kind of towards the shore. So give yourself the opportunity to think of 3 things that you can be grateful for today, right now. And then as you are moving your awareness through those 3 pieces of gratitude, I'll just read the poem by Mary Oliver before we close. What is the great labor? Out-circling interests and sympathies and empathy. The transference of focus from the self to all else. The merging of the lonely single self with the wondrous, never lonely entirety. This is all we need to do. And feeling again into that triangle of your body, mind, and spirit, noticing your thoughts, your emotions, and your feelings, without moving into any need to do anything with any of those 3 things. And then moving to the awareness of the sound that you feel, or you could feel it, that you hear predominantly, maybe feel, and give yourself a moment to really stretch that awareness of your auditory sensory body, and notice, listen to all of the sounds now in the room that you are in currently, possibly outside of the room, possibly outside of the building that you're in. Stretch your awareness and then pull it back. Come right back from the furthest sound that you hear, all the way back, right into your inner world, where your eyes are inward and closed still. And just listen for the sound of your breath as we wind our way into closing. And on your last or your next exhale, just releasing with it. And then bowing your head down just to stretch the back of the neck. Shrug your shoulders up towards your ears. Press the upper arm bones back. Relax the shoulder blades down the back. And when you're ready, come back into the room. And I'll read that poem again, just for whatever reason. What is the great labor outcircling our interests? Sympathy, empathy, the transference of focus from the self to all else, the merging of the lonely single self with the wondrous, never lonely entirety. That is all. Experience only is the successful persuader. Mary Oliver. Experience only is the successful persuader. Isn't that true? It's our memories that really sit with us, right? Okay, folks, thank you for joining. Thank you for your time. Any comments? Glad to look at them and say hi. Otherwise, we will see you next week at Mindfulness Wednesdays. And I'll send this link out for those of you that missed it. And ideally and hopefully, we'll see more of you live. Be well. Bye for now.